Apparently, people backstage in AEW are not happy with Mercedes, and people on the internet are not happy with WWE because they're not signing top free agents. Guys, this is a very big one. You do not want to miss the Ango Show. Yes. All right, guys, don't forget we do got a giveaway at 100,000 subscribers. You should click subscribe because literally you are missing some of the most incredible wrestling talk ever. Like a lot of things we talked about a year ago or 2 years ago are now coming to fruition, and I think this is the best place for wrestling. So if you're not subscribed, you might as well subscribe, and you could win tons of prizes. Okay, look, I want to kick things off with the WWE kickoff show. There's actually something I've been really wanting to talk about for a while because we haven't really talked about the kickoff show. Now, I've said this on live streams, right? Hey, they should bring back matches on the kickoff show. It's a great way to get some stuff on, it's content for WWE. You're filming matches and stuff like that. But hey, nonetheless, WWE is looking at making a change to the kickoff shows, at least according to PW Insider. They have now reported that the company is looking at possible changes to the format of its pre-show. They were told that fans should expect some changes to be made sometime this year as they want to look at ESPN's College Game Day as something of a blueprint. They want to have more of a live, high-energy, free-flowing discussion about the big shows that are taking place later that day in some of the big matches. They are working on some format changes. Since Kevin Dunn's departure, obviously WWE has made a lot of changes here, and I just want to say one thing and one thing only, and this is the main point that I have when it comes to kickoff shows. They are actually pretty damn good. However, they need to be outside with the fans. You need to have influencers. You need to have content creators. You need to have journalists. You need to have people there that are not necessarily tied to a WWE script. That's what will make it very high energy and high flowing and very good. I'm a big proponent of this. You should have journalists there. The thing is, when I watch ESPN College Game Day, when I watch Monday Night Football and I'm watching the pre-shows, the biggest thing that I notice is that they have people who are qualified to talk about the sport. Now, in pro wrestling, it's a little bit different because it's scripted entertainment, and I think you need to have people who are close to the sport, but also a fan of the sport. I think it just adds to it. And then, of course, if you add one or two kickoff matches, it helps you get people on the card. It helps making these talk show segments. That's the thing about the talking, right? The promos and like the sitting at the desk type of thing, right? Nobody wants to sit there for 60 minutes or an hour and a half and just watch people talk. They want to see more, right? So WWE throws in video packages, and that's cool and that's helpful. But if you get in a match here or there, it helps with the retention rate and making those kickoff shows a little bit more important. So I think WWE has already done a good job with kickoff shows as of late, but they could be better. And I think, look, there's a lot of people. I think Sam Roberts and Peter Rosenberg were two great additions. When you see them on these kickoff shows, I think they're fantastic because it adds a little bit of an element of people that aren't from WWE into the WWE product. And then the next obvious move would be bringing in this guy. Okay, that was really cringy, but who gives a shit? We keep it moving. Ladies and gentlemen, Triple H is obviously not signing a ton of free agents, and I thought this was really interesting. I find it also more incredibly interesting that it's Dave Meltzer talking about this because I feel like Dave Meltzer has been very hit or miss with a lot of this stuff. But this is not so much about the news. It's more about the actual ideology that we need to address. Because Dave Meltzer is reporting that Tony Khan, has offered more money than WWE and WWE officials, who seemingly expect that most of the free agents will join WWE purely based off of the fact that WWE is the name and they got WrestleMania, and people obviously are turning that down because they want to go and make money from Tony Khan. First and foremost, two things that you guys need to know. One, it's a good thing that Tony Khan is spending a lot of money. Whether you like it or not, it doesn't really matter if you like it or not, because when Tony Khan spends money, it doesn't take money out of your pocket. But I think it's a good thing for AEW to be spending money. Why? Because inevitably, it will turn WWE to start paying more money. Will Ospreay is in AEW. In 3 to 4 years, you don't think WWE may potentially sign Will Ospreay? Same thing with Mercedes Mone. By the way, it's being rumored that Mercedes has been signed to the largest contract in women's history. There's rumors about the number, the figure. I don't know. I don't want to speak on that because I'm not pocket watching. I genuinely don't care. Get that money, right? But you don't think if she goes to AEW and becomes a huge asset to AEW, WWE's not going to think about that years later? Same thing with Okada. I think it's a good thing for AEW to spend money because people will get paid. That's the point of this. People get paid. Now, you might be wondering, why does Ango care if people get paid? Because I'm not pocket watching, right? But the more options there are in wrestling, the more opportunity there is for people like me who aspire to have a future in this industry, right? Now, I say this because if Mercedes is getting a lot of money in AEW, that is going to change some of the negotiating tactics from the women in WWE or the women in TNA or whatever it may be. So the more money that is being spent, the better it is. Now, on the flip side of that, you need to understand one more big thing here. WWE does not need Okada. WWE does not need Will Ospreay, and WWE does not need Mercedes Moné. We know this. The business, factual statistics prove that WWE doesn't need it. However, AEW does. So it is better for wrestling, and it is better as a fan that some of these top free agents are going to AEW. Now AEW actually has to produce good content with them. WWE and AEW, that's the difference. WWE doesn't have that need. AEW does. Now when AEW gets that new TV deal, they should be profitable. Obviously, when you bring in multi-million-dollar contracts like they've been doing recently, there are people who are going to have to leave. That is the nature of it. The good thing is the industry is much better off this way because long term, the more companies spending money, the more places to work, and the more that the money circulates. And that is great. And what is not great is the stuff that I'm reading about Mercedes because apparently Mercedes has, I don't know why, but she's giving people the ick apparently. There's a new report, and again, as I said, it comes from Dave Meltzer, and I'm not the biggest fan of this stuff, but this could be very interesting if true. Mercedes Moné's comments about her eventually coming back to WWE have reportedly rubbed people backstage the wrong way, and people are not happy with that. And basically, the reason why is, well, it comes down to what I was just talking about for 3-4 minutes about the money, right? If WWE didn't offer Mercedes the money, Mercedes, she's done WrestleMania. She's done all these things. She doesn't need to be in WWE. Then she publicly talks about how she eventually wants to be back in WWE. Mercedes is looking to trailblaze the way forward, right? So she goes to AEW. She's getting paid a shit ton of money. Obviously, that is going to bother AEW wrestlers when they see that she's openly talking about eventually being back in WWE. Maybe this is the reason why Max Caster put out that tweet with Sammy Guevara. I don't know. But one thing I would say is this, because I think a lot of people tend to have jealousy traits and stuff like that. Mercedes getting paid a lot of money is a fantastic thing. And Mercedes talking about eventually being back in WWE, while I understand some people might not like that, I'm actually okay with that because guess what? There are people in WWE, whether you know it or not, there are people in WWE who internally in their mind have believed, hey, if shit hits the fan, I can go to AEW and get a lot of money. So at the end of the day, if you want the business to grow and if you want people to actually get paid more money, then you better hope that AEW gets to the point where they can actually make as much money as WWE. That doesn't happen overnight. That takes time. But the reason why you would want that is because if you have this mindset that, oh, people are using AEW to go to WWE, and you don't like that, then you need to understand that AEW has zero value at this time. But when AEW gets to that point of WWE, if it ever happens, then people will do the same thing to WWE. So ultimately, what I'm trying to say is very simple. Whether people are using WWE or AEW, it doesn't matter. The fact is, there's two large companies in 2024 that can afford multi-million-dollar contracts. And by the way, if you didn't know this from me at all, I think every wrestler is severely underpaid. These companies get paid a shit ton of money, and I think wrestlers should get paid a lot more. Ultimately, that's just the way I see it. Thanks for watching, TAS.